All right, so mental health is by many considered an epidemic. Depression and anxiety are becoming more and more prevalent every day. At the same time, we have immigration, the influx of immigration into around the globe and into our own country. And so it's basically trying to look at the mental health behaviors of immigrants when they come into another country, and what are the factors that influence that. So first of all, to be able to evaluate and measure help-seeking behaviors, which are behaviors that we seek help through them, like we go to counseling. To be non-intrusive, we have to measure the intent. That's the closest thing we can do. But what informs the intent is the attitude, what we think about mental health. Am I crazy if I go to counseling? Is it because I'm weak? And those attitudes, liking or disliking, those thoughts about am I crazy or am I weak or is it a strength, comes from internal self-thoughts. But those internal self-thoughts are informed by society at large, by the culture that we grow up in, and what that culture tells us. And then there's somewhere in between where, okay, so what is my uncle going to think? What is my family going to think if I seek mental health help? And that's the stigma of others. All of that, it comes from culture. So now we have these immigrants who come into another country and they have to adapt. They have to come up with their own combination of culture between what they had as their old identity and now adapting to this new land, new culture and society that they're living. So that adaptation is the acculturation process versus maintaining their old identity and their old culture, their old values. It's enculturation. And a mesh of those two comes to be this process or this measure called bicultural competence, which is, okay, how do I adapt to this society but not lose myself in the process? And the model that we're proposing here today is that this bicultural competence is a product of time. So how long have you been in this country before your attitudes start to change? And how does that time impact that? And through that acculturation and enculturation process, now that you're being impacted, how does that affect the way you see society's view of mental health behaviors? And how does that impact how you think other people close to you view you if you seek counseling? And then how do you internalize those thoughts? How do they impact your attitude towards seeking help? And then how does that impact the rate of your behavior?